Big Sills! I don't like ever to start my show by doing this. I told you so. Eagles have lost 7 starters off the NFC Championship team. And now the new banner waving by the local media in Philly is this. Well, we expected this. Okay? That's why this team was never built for longevity. That's why Howie Roseman has built 2 teams that have gone to Super Bowls. No doubt. He's also built a 4-win team. Okay? He's also responsible for a 4-win team. It is always going to be peaks and valleys with the Eagles. But you know the one thing that you give Philly credit for? The swings traditionally aren't as low as the 4 wins. They're pretty much up here, not down there like it went. A lot of things went wrong a couple of years ago when the coach and the general manager and the quarterback and the GM were all at odds. That was a lot to overcome. They couldn't. They only won 4 games that respected year. Over the weekend, they lose a Pro Bowl guard in Isaac Seumalo and a Pro Bowl running back who accounted for 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns. Quite a loss. That makes it, like I said, 7 starters. I don't know about you. You are not going to come here to this show and sit here and have me say, the general manager had a grand slam first week of free agency. The entire heart of your defense is gone. Your safeties, your linebackers, and your most important defensive tackle. And you overpaid for an old DT and you brought back, you got older and less experienced on defense. And you don't even know what the coordinator is. You have no idea who he is. By the way, nor do I. Once again, like I said a week ago, you're in the land of unknown now. To sit here and say on March 20th, hey, we're the best team in the NFC. Where do you see that? Now, could you be the best offense? Yes. You want to hear this? I think Hurts is going to have a really good year this year. I don't think Jalen's going to tail off unless there's injuries. But to sit here and wave on a Monday, Marcus Mariota and Rashad Penny, honestly, 2 colossal failures at their last stops, or whatever it is for Mariota now. Gardner-Johnson lost to the Lions. Had a really good conversation this morning with Chris Spielman, who's an executive with the Lions. It'll come out when the dust settles. Can I tell you the problem that Howie Roseman had with signing Gardner-Johnson? He had a trouble opening up the checkbook and giving a guy $10 million that was making $800,000 last year. That was his problem. And I'm going to tell you this. Paying $10 million for a safety, I kind of see it. I do. $10 million for a safety. That's a hard one to swallow. That's a hard one. Javon Hargrave, $20 million. $8 million, 1-year deal in Detroit. By the way, you know what was told to his agent? They'll redo the deal mid-season if he's killing it. They want him in Detroit. Detroit's going to have a pretty good football team this year, in my opinion. Okay? He wants the $10 million. Again, safety. I kind of see where Howie was a little bit apprehensive. Safety position. But again, it's the collection of talent you've lost. You lost the entire heart of your defense. And you brought the old guys back. I don't care how you want to slice it up. You're always going to get truth here with me. You brought two old dudes back and you overpaid for Fletcher Cox. And get this. Fletcher was not good in the first half of the season. When did he get more productive? When they brought Sue and Linville Joseph in. And there was a rotation. That's when he was more productive. You don't have that depth. And you're relying on Milton Williams and Jordan Davis to pick up the mail. So look at the experience you lose at your tackle position. A potential Hall of Famer in Adama Sue, a run-stopping brick in Linville Joseph, and you're going to rely on Milton Williams to have more reps and Jordan Davis to up his game. Jordan Davis, once again, was not the 13th pick in the draft last year. This is real. This is real talk. So, where did the general manager have success? Look, Bradbury coming back, no question. I'll tell you this. Talking to Chris Spielman in Detroit, once they did the Slay deal, Gardner-Johnson was turned off. He was turned off. He was turned off. You cut a contract with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham for $16 million, turned around and gave Slay upfront money, and Howie had a problem giving Gardner-Johnson $10 million. That's how this whole thing played out this weekend. Once Slay was brought back, in theory, Gardner-Johnson had no chance of staying. There was no chance. That's what they're saying in Detroit. It was more between Detroit and Denver. Now, again, you got so many question marks. Okay, free agency. So here's something else to think about, too, when it comes to what Howie had a year ago compared to this year. He had more draft choices a year ago to go out and use on getting a guy like Gardner-Johnson. He's got 6 picks this year. That's why I say there's a shot that I think he trades down on 10 to create more collateral for him to make a Gardner-Johnson deal once training camp starts, once he gets through the mini camps. Because right now, dude, you don't have a linebacking core to play a 34. To sit here and tell me that you're going to be in Sean Desai's defense with a 34, you don't have enough personnel to even field a defense right now. So don't sit here and tell me on March 20th, you've got one of the better teams in the NFC. You do not. You do not. You don't even have enough people to play the defense that guy wants to play. Absurd. Then you lose Isaac Say. By the way, I told you, when you lost Dillard, even though he's a headache, and I hate the kid too. I take that back. I hate the kid's attitude. He's not very flexible. You still lost depth. What was the logic, you think, in paying Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox $16 million? What's the logic there? This is why the Patriots won 6 Super Bowls. That guy would make the tough cut. He'd get rid of the guys and not sit around and give out retirement funds because a guy's a good dude in the community. What's that got to do with winning? Don't see it. Fletcher Cox, $10 million, not worth it. I'd rather go into the draft. Or do this. Take the 10th pick, trade up to get Jalen Carter. Because financially, he'd have been on a rookie deal. And it's cheaper than paying $10 million. Give the additional money. You could have brought back your entire secondary. With that one move. Move up in the draft. He's going to fall to like 7, 8, or 9. Get Jalen Carter. Put him next to Jordan Davis. You're younger. You're talented. And you're creating a future. And you could put Nakobe Dean back there behind the same guys he played at Georgia. And you're cheaper. The one thing he likes. Instead, you give old dudes money. You bring the old cornerback who did not play well in the last month of the season. Give a shit what people say. And here you go like this. So you lost a 26-year-old Gardner-Johnson. You know what's funny? Tone brings this up too. Oh, now he sucks. That's crazy. That's freaking crazy. Now, I will put this out there. Have the Eagles lost so much that they've lost pace with the rest of the NFC? That is yet to be determined. Because their offense is pretty much intact, except you got to add this other component in. New coaches are in the building. New philosophies. New situational play calling. You lost a star player at 26 to keep a 32-year-old corner who's got a half a year left in him at best. Old play Slay. Tell me I'm wrong. Again, I'll tell you something that's funny. After coming out of the biggest week we've ever had here, people get their panties in a bind when they hear the truth. Bunch of people. Holy cow. You know, I faced a lot of crap on radio. Starting to feel a little bit of that same shit now. All I'm doing here is doing a show, pointing out what I see. Remember, the National Football Show, not the National Cheerleading Show. I don't sit here and kind of try to paint Marcus Mariota into something he's not. At best, he's a backup quarterback that could carry the mail, like I said for you, in case Jalen gets hurt, which he will, because he has. Rashad Penny averages 8 games a year. Somehow, this guy is a monster sign. Really. It's a cheap sign. Crazy. And by the way, the National Football League Players Association released something that nobody in your market brought up. The Eagles are $7 million over the cap. I posted it on my Twitter page. They're $7 million over on 65 contracts as of today. Where are you getting this money to sign Jalen Hurts? That's why CJ Gardner-Johnson is in Detroit. Where are you getting that money from? Go look. The NFLPA released the salary cap space. The Eagles don't have any salary cap space, no matter what they tell you. They don't. The Players Association posted it Sunday. I posted it. They're at $241 in a $224 million 2023 cap. Plain and simple. And Howie Vision is $5 million over the cap. Or, excuse me, with dead cap money that carried over from a year ago. He's got $5 million in dead cap money. Those aren't my stats. That's the Players Association. Not some sort of like media outlet. Javon Hargrave made a comment. By the way, if Philly is such a destination, how come no one took a hometown discount? Remember, Slay was not a free agent. Slay was under contract. He took a haircut. One guy came back. The rest of them all left. Cox and Graham, could they have gone somewhere else? Why would you go at 36 or 35, whatever it is that Brandon is? Why would you go to Cleveland for 1 year and act like Emmitt Smith in Denver? What, you're damn right Fletcher's coming back. For $10 million? Absolutely you're coming back. Not a team in the open market would have given that guy $10 million. Nobody but Philly. Phew. Man, now, again, there's going to be more of an emphasis on the offense now. Here's the losses. There's actually 9 that are kind of, you look at here. Gardner-Johnson, Detroit. Epps. Edwards, Chicago. White, Arizona. Hargrave, 49ers. Sayamalo, Steelers. Makes them better. Sanders, Carolina. Dillard, Tennessee. Zach Pascal, Arizona. Ace, Sills, every season is the unknown. With any team, I tell you, this is what every narrative NFL team wants, and it will get regardless of what you or anyone else thinks. No, you're missing it, though. Everyone was talking to me about dynasty. There's not a chance in hell you had a dynasty going with a guy who built a team on a one-year free agency bonanza. Okay, you tell me this. You think the Eagles took a step forward or backwards in free agency? And explain to me if you say they took a step forward. Tell me if you think the Eagles have taken a step forward in this offseason so far. Tell me. By the way, I'm going to hold to my gun on what I said on March 13th. This team's not a playoff team. There's massive unknowns. The entire centerpieces of your defense are gone. And you're going to now put Hassan Reddick as an outside linebacker? Good luck. Good luck. Hold on. So you think the Eagles have taken steps forward on March 20th? Yes or no? And don't talk to me about drafting. That's not a very good general manager in drafting players, especially in the first round. Andre Dillard was sent packing, bust. Jalen Reagor, Barnett, all these guys. You think they took a step forward? That's right. See what Nick just said? Nick's right. The NFC does suck. And if Rodgers does get out of the NFC, I think that is a massive help for the Eagles as they try to mature their defense. Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean have more pressure on them than ever before now. You've got to not only do you have to play, And get this, some go like this. I hear people doing this. Well, everyone expected Kaiser White. Dude, Kaiser White is a guy you should have signed. At $5.5 million bucks, and according to Pro Football Focus, shit, dude, you were one of the worst tackling football teams in the league a year ago. Now you lost. You're like 5 or 6 best tacklers on the team. How is that a step forward? I agree with you totally. There's no dynasty here. Do you think Howie is good to hoodwink Jalen in the franchise with all these Band-Aids? Ace, I'll try to decipher that and put that together. Here's one thing, Ace, okay? Is Jalen good enough now to carry a shitty defense to the NFC title game? I don't know that. He had the, remember what I told you in December? The team that Jalen Hurts had this past season was the best team he'll ever play on in Philadelphia. He'll never play on a team like that again. That's a generational roster where you had so many Pro Bowlers, guys having career years. You're not seeing 70 sacks. The 85 Bears were like the last team to do that. You're not duplicating that. Especially in a 34. And by the way, once again, how are you running a 34 with what? You don't even have people on the personnel roster list right now to formally put together a 34. What are you doing at safety? Are you moving Maddox over there? Your safeties are not very good. Blankenship, not me. Don't make the guy sound like he's Gardner-Johnson because he's nowhere near the guy. He's nowhere near him. And now you're going to move guys out of position. Is that correct? This is a repeat of Wentz and destroying team. No, because you have an offense intact and you have a good leader. This is not the Wentz disaster of 20. This is not that. I don't believe it's that disastrous. I do believe, look, the two best moves, the three best moves that Howie Roseman made in free agency was Kelce re-signing, pretty high tag at $14.5 million. Once again, do you understand that Howie Roseman spent $16 million on Graham and Cox and turned around and spent $14.5 million on Jason Kelce? You got to remember something when you're talking free agent. Don't ever dismiss the money because that's part of the moves. That's part of it. Well, we got this guy. Oh, no. Add the money into it. The money is part of the equation here. You got 3 players. There's no way on the planet you were going to afford Sayamalo at $13.5 million because you already have 3 guys making nearly $15 million or more dollars in your old line. And you turned around and gave $16 million to Fletcher and Brandon Graham. Look at the amount of money that's invested. And you got the equity of a first-round draft choice in Jordan Davis. Your best D lineman is Josh Sweat. Because you know why? Josh Sweat can play 17 games. He's your best D lineman. Fletcher's going to be spotty again, especially if they don't get him depth. Cody, here's what Cody says. Dan, we couldn't sign everyone. No shit, I told you that. Especially when you have the $50 million balloon waiting up there for you to have to get into. Remember what I told you about the Purdy situation in San Francisco? San Francisco is in the catbird seat because they don't have to pay any quarterback. And you go, who's playing quarterback? Did it matter the last 5 years? They've been in the NFC title game 3 times, albeit I like what Tone says. You just can't put your name on the test and say I passed. He's right. That's been their Achilles heel. They still win ball games. They don't have the peaks and valleys that Philly does. Cody who? Cody who? Let me do this for you here. Just so you think we're not making this up. Because, you know, Big Sills comes bringing gifts, as I always do. And some of you don't like it. It's funny. Some of the conversations you have with people. Crazy. Here. Right here. Here is the ledger sheet that the NFL Players Association posted and sent to all of its members, which I'm a member. Eagles have 66 contracts. 5.4 million carryover in dead cap money. $241,673,948 is what you're spending as of today. You are 6.9 million over the cap. Howie's next move now is restructuring contracts so he can just get his draft choices on the team. Oh, and have to sign the quarterback. How are you doing all this? How are you doing all this? Just a question. How are you doing all this? And Howie's snow globe. Now, let me ask you this. Because we did all of our ripping. By the way, the Slay sign, 32-year-old guy who's losing it at the end of the year for the money they gave him, I don't know. I suppose I'm good with it. I don't really know. He may come back and play. I don't know. I thought he was not very good at the end of the year. Beginning of the year, I thought he was fabulous. That's a fair assessment. Okay? So should we just flip quarterbacks every couple of years too? No. Once again, General, the $50 million quarterback decision, you're either going to be Dak Prescott or Patrick Mahomes. And 95% of the $50 million quarterback situations when you sign them don't work. You're going to be one or the other. You're going to be Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, or Patrick Mahomes. That's all I've been telling you. Who are you going to be? I'm here. I have my popcorn ready to hear how terrible we are, Sills. You are terrible on defense. Terrible. Younger, older, inexperienced. The entire centerpieces, from tackle to linebacker to safety, are gone. It's like taking the heart out of somebody. You're good on the edges. Stopping the run? That's not a run-stopping defense. They're going to run the ball down your throat because the middle of your defense is gone. Completely gone. Like it never existed. Guy goes like this, Steve. Terrible in March. You built your Super Bowl team in March last year and throughout the offseason, all the way until the July training camp. You built your NFC championship team not during the year, dude, in the offseason. And it started in March. Oh, you forgot. So, unlike a week ago, I've already taken, again, signing Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham is great in front of a microphone and great at a charity. I would have taken that money and I would have signed the younger guys that were productive. Look, TJ Edwards, I don't know. He wanted to go to Chicago. I think that was a foregone conclusion. Played his ball at Wisconsin. I think he wanted to go back to the Midwest and play closer to home. I don't think it had anything to do with disrespecting Philly. But CJ Gardner-Johnson was insulted by the offer and the 1 year, and he said, I'd rather go play somewhere else. And Chris Spielman wanted him. Dan Campbell, Chris Spielman got on the phone with him. Chris Spielman got on the phone. And look at Jameson. Now TJ's overrated. Last year he was fantastic. Okay. Yeah. Everybody sucks today now that didn't resign. Get your panties in a bind. Now here, unlike last week, where we were watching this thing disintegrate in front of us and bringing in broken down players, has free agency changed the mentality of what they'll do in the draft coming up in 38 days? Has it changed? Do you go corner? Do you stay at corner? I did miss your super chat. I got it. Does it change? Has it changed the priority now on what to do there at 10? What's the proper thing to do at 10 and 30 for the Eagles? With all the losses now, what's the main priority on the football team? Okay? What's the main priority? Or has it changed? Do you still go corner? What do? Do you trade out of 10? Get more equity? Anthony says DT and safety. Not a DT. Jalen Carter's not there. You don't take him. If Jalen Carter's at 10, I don't waste my time not taking him. If he's there at 10, shit, if he's there at 9, might make me want to move up a pick. You got an old dude and a guy you're not sure at tackle. And the reason Fletcher played better was because there was more depth. But here's the key to that: experience depth. Guys that had been in the league a long time. Guys who knew how to prepare for ball games. Guys that were leader in their respective teams. Sue has won Super Bowls. Knew how to prepare. After Jordan Davis came back from his injury, he couldn't beat two 36-year-old defensive tackles out. Solid. Nakobe Dean couldn't get on the football field and was a non-existent guy in special teams. One of the worst units in the league. But he's going to be a frontline guy. Okay. You know, I got to do the same thing I say to you guys. This is the unknown. All right. Hopefully he turns into Sam Mills, because he's a little dude too. He's going to play the Mike linebacker at that size. Okay. Oh, hey, if you don't have good defensive tackle play, Nakobe Dean won't make 17 games. He's too small. He's a little guy. Mike, linebacker, where all that traffic is inside. And Jordan Davis got his ass pushed off the ball in the Super Bowl. That guy's playing your Mike? Do you understand? Mike linebackers are the size of Roquan Smith and Ray Lewis and Fred Warner and guys like that. They're not little dudes. You don't have little dudes playing Mike. Priority now. What's the priority? Here's what your football team looks like. And then we'll figure a priority out here. Hurts. Great year. Okay? Rashad Penny, your running back? You went cheaper and a guy who plays 8 games a year. And you're going to try to replace 1,300 yards with a guy who can't stay healthy. 11 starts in 5 years for a first-round pick is terrible. But he's a star in Philly. AJ, great year. Devontae, great year. Dallas Goedert, an absolute rising star. Mulata, rising star. See, this is where you get truth. Landon Dickerson, rising star. Jason Kelsey, Hall of Famer. Cam Jurgens, another dude out of position. So let me get this right. You're so thin on your roster right now, you're going to move Avonte Maddox to a different position and Cam Jurgens. Sounds like you prepared well for the offseason. Lane Johnson, Hall of Famer. In total, I would say this. It's probably the best offense in the NFC. And the reason I give it the nod over San Francisco, I'll tell you what. Detroit's going to be in there, but there's too many unknowns there. This team's performed at an NFC championship level and almost a Super Bowl champion level. That's an A. That's an A. And Mulata young, Smith young. Shit, A.J. Brown 25. Hurts young. Dickerson young. I mean, there's a core group of dudes on that side of the ball that you're very high on and shows a lot of promise. You're high on this side of the ball. Now, new coordinator, I don't think that's going to really affect too much because Jalen Hurts is really the OC. Defense, old Brandon Graham. Jordan Davis. I don't know. He ain't the 13th pick as of right now. The guy is not. The day you drafted him, I said, one day he has to live up. Have I not been saying this? One day Jordan Davis has to live up to his immense athleticism. He didn't a year ago. He is who he is. This guy has never played up to his 4.78. Ever. And he's spotty. SEC title game, he sucked. National title game, he was fabulous. First half of the season, we're good against the run. After that, lost. Couldn't even get on the field. Fletcher Cox needs help. Limited role, he's better. a ton of snaps like Tennessee or Pittsburgh, he's out of gas. We saw it a year ago. Well, let me get this right. That's going to change in 2023. He's going to hit the fountain of youth. Okay, solid thinking. And at $10 million, where there wouldn't have been a team in the NFL pay him that. Nobody would have paid him $10 million. Nobody. Josh Sweat, in my opinion, is your best 3-down D lineman. I like Milton Williams. I do. According to Pro Football Focus, he made some of the best improvements of any tackle, starting or backup, in the NFL. A lot of people like this kid. There's a lot of value in Milton Williams. Hassan Reddick in a 34? No way. No way. No. You're going to line that dude up over a tackle where he can get his vice grips on you? Never happened. Not a chance. That guy's got to be more in a forefront. And he's out wide. Wide 9s, wide 7s, shit like that. Get those offensive tackles and guards to move their feet. The more you move the feet of an OT, and you've got the speed and quickness of Hassan Reddick, the more it favors you. N'Kobe Dean's your Mike Backer? Sean Bradley? Who? Slay and Bradbury. Bradbury, really a great year. Slay, a really good half a year. Who's Tristan? Tristan who? Sorry, tell me who he is. I have no idea who he is. Who's this guy? Blankenship? These are your safeties? That defense won't be up. You'll be in the mid-20s in stopping the run with that thing. Mid-20s. That's a defense that won't stop the run, especially if you're going to try to run that ridiculous 34. That means you're saying that Jordan Davis is an upgrade to Javon Hargrave at nose if you're going to run that ridiculous 34. Do you understand when you run a 34? You've got to have people like Sam Adams, Tony Siracusa. You've got to have people like Ted Washington, Vince Wilfork, guys like that to play that nose. To keep centers like Jason Kelce will torture Jordan Davis if he ever played against him. He would torture him. Kelce would torture him. Slips and scoops, misdirection plays. They're going to run a ton of shit at him like that. That defense, whatever. Did you think I was going to come out? Look, on the offense. That defense, I don't know. That's not what, I don't even know where to rank it yet. If Eagles make the Super Bowl, I picked you to go to last year. Jordan Davis can play the nose in time. Well, he's got 6 months to figure it out. He's got to figure it out. Kelly Green goes too soon, Sills. Really? I picked you on March 10th a year ago to go to the Super Bowl. I wasn't wrong. Priorities now. What's the number one priority with this team? Half a team. And by the way, what's your coordinator going to play? He wants to play at 34, doesn't have the roster to do it. They don't even have the personnel on the team to play it. Sills, here, you guys are going to go like this. Well, Sills, isn't he going to go into the draft? Well, right now you're $6 million over the cap. So you've got to restructure deals and you've got to do a bunch of stuff here with Reddick and some other guys, Lane. I mean, there's a ton of things you have to do here to even get under a position to draft, let alone free agency and bringing guys in. And let's not forget the signing of Hurts. You don't have enough money because you spend it in your O-line and you spend it you spend it in your O-line and at your corners. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. And by the way, to be fair to Hassan Reddick, you can't sit here and say he's not going to have another double-digit sack year when he's done 4 of them. So it would be unfair for me to sit here and go like this. I think he takes a step back because he hasn't. He's actually stepped up. But again, this is not the same defensive scheme he was in a year ago. This is going to be completely different. I'm talking truce to you here. Talking about riling anybody up. I'm looking at the 22 guys that you're going to go as of today, March 20th. If you were to play a game today, here's your football team. Your football team is very good on offense. This is the team that loses games 30-32. Don't have any injuries either. You have no depth at your tackle positions now. Jack Driscoll, I called him the floating buoy. Hold on so you don't drown. Moving Cam Jurgens over, that's not what his skill set is. Well, he can play guard. Really? Do you understand the nuances, even right guard to left guard, how much of a change that is for players? They're completely different steps, completely different mindsets. And by the way, for the record, you've got to have great feet the closer you are to the ball inside because there's more traffic. Is this a playoff team with what I just named the U.S. starters? You think this is a playoff team? You think this is a playoff team? No safeties, no backers, a question mark at Jordan Davis and Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox and Old Man Slay at corner. Solid. Okay. Good luck to you. I don't see it. Now, Bobby Wagner? You can forget that. You don't have the money. You're $5 million over the cap. You know what the media will tell you? They're not. They're like $3 million under. Not according to the NFLPA, you're not. Where they keep the eyeball on the numbers. The media doesn't. Because that's what the Eagles will tell them. They're not. The Players Association keeps an idea on that. That's why I posted it. Because people are telling you that the Eagles are under the cap. They're not. And he has $4 million or $5 million in dead cap money that carried over. So when these people are printing these stories or people are telling you that, that's a bull-faced lie. I posted to you the Players Association that keeps an eyeball on every single team. Every team. You could believe the Players Association because they want what's best for their players, not what's best for the team. $3 million under the cap. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I saw that number and I said, can you guys please post? And they did for me, the Players Association, which I'm a member. I posted my membership card. And Howie Vision's got $5 million from dead cap money coming over to the new cap. So he doesn't have $224 million to deal with. That's why he had to take a haircut with Slay. Getting Slay back on a cheaper deal, more money up front, probably good for both. The number one deal that he did was the Bradbury deal. The rest of them, he lost every single guy that was a free agent. And here's the narrative. Well, that was expected. Really? You were expecting to lose 7 of your 22 starters from the NFC title team. Okay. Hold up, Sills. The position group I have complete confidence in is the O-line. Okay. This is a team sport, Marshall. It's a team sport. You've got to stop people. Brian asks a great question. Fletcher Cox or Gardner-Johnson? Gardner-Johnson all day. He's younger. And he was one of the better stars on the team a year ago. Don't have people tell you that they would rather have Fletcher back than Chauncey Gardner. Who cares if he's a tool? If he plays for you and leads the NFL in interceptions and has a great season for you, who cares? Who cares? Quinn goes right exactly what I said a couple minutes ago. Kansas City's defense sucked, and they won the Super Bowl. So you're under the assumption you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. I completely do not believe that. I completely do not believe that. Absolutely not. Jalen Hurts cannot take this team to a Super Bowl and win it. Patrick Mahomes can. You can get Quentin Jefferson for $4 million to play DT. Seahawks cut him. $4 million? Dude, you're over the cap. $4 million? You got to free money up for draft picks in 38 days. Quentin, you better, stop looking at free agents that are out there right now. You're going to start having to look at free agents in a couple months. Couple months. Kansas City's defense was not elite. You don't have Patrick Mahomes, dogs. That guy's not good enough to carry that team to a Super Bowl and win it. He's not. You think if Patrick Mahomes played like shit in the divisional games, in the NFC title game, like Hurts played, the Chiefs would have beat the Cincinnati Bengals? I don't. No. Mahomes has to play great every Sunday. Every Sunday, Mahomes has to play great. Eagles go like this. Eagles for life. I guess Mahomes is the only guy that can win a Super Bowl. Well, just like Brady. And this is why Peyton Manning, again, underachieved in Indianapolis. Why did he underachieve? One Super Bowl, and he's considered one of the better quarterbacks in NFL history? Shit, the guy in Pittsburgh did more. The guy in Pittsburgh did more in the Steel City than what Manning did in Indianapolis. Facts. Shit, his brother did more in New York than what Peyton did in Indianapolis. Facts. Shit, the guy in New York beat the GOAT twice. Yeah. Who beats that guy in Kansas City? Burrow. He's going to be in the room. In the NFC? I don't know. Patrick Mahomes could take this team to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts cannot. You know why? Mahomes proved it. 2 rookie corners, 9 rookies starting. How about this? Let me back up. Let me do this one for you. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. 2023 is going to tell us a hell of a lot more than 2022 did about Jalen Hurts. You bet your ass. This guy had a packed team a year ago. He ain't got that now, and he won't. We're going to find out. I'll tell you what. Okay? I'll tell you what. Last year made us really respect Hurts' growth as a player. This year, we're going to find out if he's a lead or not. Better schedule, lesser team, more responsibilities. As it should be if you're going to pay someone $50 million. As it should be. More power to you, Jalen, if you get it done. Everyone's rooting for you. The history of the league doesn't favor him. But maybe he is, as some of you say, different. He's going to have to be. There's not a chance in hell Howie puts 7 dudes back on the football team that have career years. 7 starters are off the 2022 NFC Championship team. Not a chance in hell. Because this time, there's money issues. You've got a lot of double-digit millionaires on the Eagles now. Check this out. 2 tackles, $15 million. A center, $15 million. A receiver, $20 million. An edge rusher, $15 million. A corner, $14 million. Another corner, $14 million. There's only $224 million. And you're over the cap. And you have dead money. Howie Roseman's going to need a shoehorn to get out of this one. Free agents, almost every one of them left but Bradbury. Every one of them. I thought all these players were going to take, this is what you guys were telling me, they were going to take hometown discounts. Oh, one did, Slay. And he wasn't even a free agent. But you know what he did? He put such a stink up. And really, the Eagles didn't probably want to let him go. They didn't. So what they did was they brought the 32-year-old cornerback at the expense of a 26-year-old player who led the NFL in interceptions. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Here's your big question marks. Well, Jordan, here. That's a great one. Here's your question marks. Who's playing linebackers? Who's your safeties? Will Jordan Davis pan out along with Nakobe? Was it the right decision to pay Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox $16 million combined? Was it the right decision to pass on Gardner-Johnson to pay Slay and restructure Slay? Bradbury, I'm good with. Don't you think you could have used some of that money on Fletcher Cox also to try to get Sayamalo back in the building? Or that wasn't a priority then? I thought you're trying to build the best offense you can for Jalen Hurts. Oh, that's right. You got to pay him. So you're old at end, tackle, and corner. End, tackle, and corner, you're old. You're inexperienced at tackle, linebacker, safety. Sills, we're going to address this in the draft. Inexperienced. Okay. So you're hoping to hit on a Sauce Gardner. Fair enough. 34 goes, okay, Genius Sills, since you called the Eagles to the Super Bowl last March and all the Eagle Hills, who then goes to the Super Bowl, I don't know yet. I don't know. Cody goes, Sills, are you mostly criticizing us because Howie signed the wrong guys? No, I'm criticizing because Howie built a team for 1 year. It was never something that was going to be a football team that was built for the future. See, you got to remember something about a guy like Roseman. He's an accountant. He balances the books every year, not the roster. He balances the books. He's not a personnel guy. Last year, if you notice, every one of the deals that he did were all free agents. What rookie off the team that he drafted a year ago had an impact on the team? No one. Zero. And the one guy in the last 2 years that he drafted that it's had an impact on the team has been Devontae in 2 years. And he had to get AJ. You know why? He failed on Rager. I don't know what some people are looking at here. I mean, really? What are you looking at? That's the fact. He mortgaged and went all in. That right there, my friend, is a true statement. And you know what? You give Howie credit for that. You know why? People push their chips in like that. That's what makes them, not having won the Super Bowl, even more of a crippling thing. That football team of 2022 is the best team Jalen Hurts will ever play on in his NFL career in Philadelphia. Ever. That's one of the better rosters I've ever seen for a year. That's one of the best and most complete rosters I've ever seen. And especially with guys producing. To duplicate that again, an NFL fact, 33% of free agents signed hit. For what he did a year ago is unprecedented. Remember, they tried this with the Dream Team. Bombed. Hour 2, Gary Cobb from Fox 29 in Philly. As he always does on Monday, we're going to get his take. We're going to take a look again at the draft chart and how things have changed after week 1. All 31. Remember, the Dolphins don't have a pick in the upcoming draft. What does Howie Roseman do at 10 and 30? We'll talk to Gary Cobb about that. Hit the like button. Hour 2. Keep it here on the National.